Hello guys, welcome back to another interesting tutorial on the channel. On this tutorial, we'll be learning how to draft a basic bodice pattern. If you are new to this channel, please don't forget to subscribe. These are the measurements we'll be needing, and this tutorial is very detailed and beginner friendly. So let's get started. The materials we'll be needing for this tutorial are pattern paper, marker, ruler, and measuring tape. To begin, I'll just go ahead to roll out a straight line on my pattern paper. Guys, we'll be starting with the front pattern. I'll roll out a straight line on my pattern paper. This is going to serve as a shoulder line, or let's say our guideline. Then I'll go ahead to mark my shoulder measurement divided by 2 on that point, and my shoulder is 14 divided by 2 is 7 inches. And then I'll go down by 1 inch on that point to create our shoulder slope. I'll mark 3 inches for the neck width, and then I'll go ahead to connect it to the 1 inch I came down by on the shoulder. This is done because our shoulder is not straight. The next thing I'm going to do is to mark out my bust point, which is 10 inches, under bust, which is 13 inches, waistline, which is 16 inches, and top length I'll be using 23 inches. So for the sake of beginners, please take note of the pictorial illustrations of how to take these measurements. So guys, after marking my bust point, under bust point, waistline, and top length, I'll go ahead to connect the points using my rule. So I'll go ahead to also extend the lines. After that, I'll mark my round armhole measurement divided by 2, which is 14 divided by 2, which is 7 on that point. Take note of where I placed my tape. Then I'll confirm my shoulder measurement divided by 2 on the other point, as you can see. Then I'll connect with a straight line like so, and then extend the line. So this is going to serve as our chest line. So I'll go ahead to label my lines. This is the chest line, the bust point, the under bust, the waistline, and then the top length. So after that, I'll go ahead to create my curve for my front armhole. I'll divide what I have there by 2, which is 7 by 2, which is 3.5. I'll mark that down, and then I'll mark my bust measurement divided by 4, which is 32 divided by 4, which is 8. I'll mark it on the chest line. Then I'll go in by ½ inch on that point. Then I will use my rule to connect it. You can also use your free hand if you don't have a rule. So after that, I will go ahead to mark out my neck depth, and I'll be using 3 inches. Then I will also connect it with my rule. So guys, after that, the next thing I'll do is to measure my bust span, and my bust span is 7 inches divided by 2 is 3.5. I'll go ahead and mark that on the bust point, on the under bust, on the waistline, and also on the top length. Then I'll use my rule to connect it with a straight line. After that, I'll go ahead to take my darts, and I'll be taking my darts on the waistline. I'll go in by 0.75 inches on both sides of the dart leg, as you can see. Then I will use my rule to connect it to the bust point. So after connecting it to the bust point, the next thing I will do is to go ahead and mark 2 inches above my top length, and then I'll also connect the dart to that point. Please, if you are new to this channel, don't forget to subscribe and also give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful. If you are a returning subscriber, thank you so much. I love you guys. So I'll go ahead to mark my bust divided by 4 on my bust line, and then I'll also mark my waist divided by 4 which is 7. I'll replace the darts on the dart legs. I got 1.5. I'll mark that down, and then I'll go ahead on my top length and measure my hip measurements divided by 4 and mark it on the top length line. So after that, I'll just go ahead to connect the points with my ruler. So guys, after connecting the point, the next thing we're going to do is to take our side dart. So for the side dart, we're going to measure the difference between the shoulder to waist in front and shoulder to waist at the back. And the difference between my shoulder to waist at the front and shoulder to waist at the back is 2 inches. So I'll go ahead to mark the 2 inches on that point, as you can see, and then connect it back into the bust point line like so. So guys, after that we are done with our front pattern. The next thing I'm going to do is to go ahead and cut this out. So guys, after that, the next thing we are going to do is to label this piece, the front piece, so you don't mix it up, and then we'll go ahead to draft the back pattern. So to begin, we are going to rule out a straight line, also the same way we did for the front piece. This line is going to serve as a shoulder line, or let's say a guide line. Go ahead to mark out the shoulder divided by 2, which is 14 by 2, which is 7, and mark it on that point, same way we did for the front, and also come down by 1 inch on that point. Measure 3 inches for the neck width, and then connect it to the 1 inch we came down by on the shoulder. Then the next thing to do is to go ahead and measure our chest line, or let's say the armhole line, which is 7 inches, because 14 divided by 2, which is 7. Then went ahead to confirm the shoulder measurement on that point, connect with the straight line, and then extend the other line. So guys, I also go ahead to confirm the chest line on the other side, and then I will mark it down and then extend the line. The next thing to do is to mark out my bust point, which is 10 inches, and then shoulder to waist at the back, which is 14 inches. And then I'll go ahead to extend my points, and then I'll use my rule to connect the points. So guys, after connecting the points, I'll go ahead to introduce my front piece. Then I'm going to measure from the waistline to the top length, and I got about 7 inches on that point. I'll go ahead to mark that on the back piece. I'll mark the same 7 inches I got while I measured that on the back piece. So I will just mark my points, and then I'll go ahead to use my rule to connect the points. So guys, after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to mark my bust measurements divided by 4 on the chest line, which is 32 divided by 4, which is 8 inches. Then I will go ahead to draw up my back armhole. So guys, after that, the next thing I'm going to do is to label the lines. The first is the chest line, bust point, waistline, and then top length. So guys, after that, I'll just go ahead to mark my bust span divided by 2, which is 7 divided by 2 is 3.5. I will mark that on the chest line, on the bust point, on the waistline, and on the top length. Then I'll go in with my rule and then connect the points. So after connecting the points, the next thing I will do is to create my back dart. I will go in on both sides of the dart legs by 0.75 inches, and then I will go up on the from the top length by 2 inches, and then I will use my rule to connect. This time around I'm connecting it to the chest line, so I'll just go ahead to connect it like so, and then back into the 2 inches I came up by from the top length. Please don't forget to subscribe if you are new to this channel, and also give this video a thumbs up if you find it helpful. So guys, the next thing we're going to do is to measure my bust measurement divided by 4, which is 32 divided by 4, 8 inches. I'll mark that on the bust point, and then the waist divided by 4, which is 7 inches, and then I'll replace my darts on the waistline, which is 1.5 inches, and then I'll go ahead to mark my hip measurement on the divided by 4 on the top length, and then I'm going to use my rule to connect the points like so. So guys, after that I will go ahead to mark out my neckline for the back piece, that's my neck depth, and I'll be using 1 inch for this. I'll go ahead to use my rule to connect into the neck width, and then after that we are done with the back pattern guys. I'll just go ahead to cut this out. So guys, we have come to the end of this tutorial. I'll just go ahead and label this the back piece. So if you notice, we did not add any allowance to this pattern. That's because I'll be adding all the allowances while cutting on the fabric. So you notice for the back that we did not add a zipper allowance, so I'll also be adding that while cutting on the fabric, and we did not also add side seam allowance. I'll be adding that and all the necessary allowance while cutting on the fabric. Please do well to subscribe, share and like this video. Bye.